Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. I've never understood people who lie about work experience. It just makes you look that much more incompetent when you try to do something you should be able to do. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Go outside. I don't want your help. I work at a bar in the downtown area of my city on weekends here and there, but I used to work every single weekend and on a weeknight or two sometimes. I had a lot of fun there in the beginning. I was friends with the manager and one of the bartenders, and we all just loved working together. About 6 months after starting there, our manager, M, let's say he decided he wanted to move back home, states away, to be near family. He gave a month notice and got ready to leave. One of our employees who worked the door offered to take over. He was a veteran, had buttloads of experience working in bars and restaurants, and was a seemingly nice guy. They gave him the job, and things just went downhill from there. He was an a-hole. He started hiring more people than we needed, mostly his friends or family who needed jobs. Most of them were horrible employees, and all of us who'd been at the bar for a while started to dread going to work if he were going to be there. Well, anyways, one Friday night I was working as a cocktail server. We had a band playing, and if there was live music, there was usually enough of a crowd for an actual server. We weren't expecting to be super busy, however, as there was a big music festival happening a few blocks away that didn't end until midnight. So even if we got a big rush, it would be after the band was done playing. Well, we didn't have anyone in the bar for hours. It was awkward because the band we'd paid to be there were just sitting on our patio, drinking, waiting for anyone to come in. I was standing around in the back on my phone waiting, as they didn't want to send me home too early and then end up needing me. Well, around 10 p.m., our D-head manager sent home the second bartender. He said even if we get a rush, it won't be anything I can't handle alone. Okay. Well, around 10:30, a party bus pulls in front of the bar and begins unloading. At least 30 people get off the bus and pour into the bar, none of them sitting at any of my tables, just going straight up to sit at or stand near the bar, probably because this was just a quick stop on their route. Immediately, DM gets overwhelmed. He's trying to make a tray of shots, pour beers, and make cocktails all at once. I guess I should have mentioned I'm a trained bartender. Normally at this job, I did cocktail serving, but I bartended a few times and was a bartender at my main job as well. So I rush behind the bar and ask what he needs help with. Me. Hey, I can help you make some drinks or run cards or something. What do you want me to do? DM. I don't need your help, as he's visibly struggling and getting bombarded with more drink orders. Me. Are you sure? I can just get ice if you don't want me in your way. DM. Just effing go outside or something. I don't need your help. I stepped back and calmed myself down before I said something back that I would regret, and I decided to listen to him. I calmly walked outside to our patio and lit up a cigarette. Our sound guy came outside for a smoke too. Him. Dang, DM's getting slammed in there. Did you try helping him? I think he could use an extra hand. Me. Yeah, I tried to offer help, but he yelled at me to go outside, so here I am. Sound guy laughs and tells me to just keep following orders and stay outside, so I do. About 10 to 20 minutes go by and DM comes outside looking for me, just furious. He asked me what the F I was doing, and I calmly told him that I was following his instructions. I went outside because he didn't want me around to help. He let out a big, frustrated grunt and stormed back inside. When I went back in, our owner had showed up. DM had called him. Our owner and I had become good friends since I started, and he took me to the office to ask what happened. I explained everything. The sound guy and cameras backed me up, and our owner just sighed. He told me he'd been getting complaints from other bartenders about DM and didn't really know how to handle it since it was clear this management position wasn't a good fit for him. He sent me home early that night and apologized for how DM talked to me. And eventually, after a few more rude comments and schedule mess-ups, DM was told he was no longer needed in the management position, but he could have his door job back. Anyways, a few weeks after going back to doing the door, he moved away, and none of us have heard from him since. So many managers seem to think their role is to force other employees to do their jobs, when really their role is to let other employees do their jobs. And our second story. Ice cream people don't put out their own ice cream. I used to do a sales rep job for a popular Northeast ice cream company. I would have to drive to different grocery and convenience stores and pull the ice cream from their stockroom freezers to replenish the floor stock. Then I would place orders for what was needed and work with stores for upcoming sales. I was in my second week of training and still had my boss with me as the trainer. I didn't have my company clothes yet, so I was wearing a plain polo, a New York Mets hat, and khakis. I went into our biggest grocery partner in a kind of snooty neighborhood and started putting out my merchandise. I felt a tap on my shoulder, and it was a middle-aged lady. She asked where she could find the frozen spinach. Meanwhile, there were 3 store employees with the store name on their attire in the same section. I said I'm not sure, but I would guess by the frozen vegetables. She started telling me how I should know, and if I don't know, I should escort her to that part of the store. I calmly explained that I don't work for the store, that I am in fact a vendor. She responded with, "Ice cream people don't put out their own ice cream," then demanded to see my manager. So I call my boss over, who's wearing our company logo. She tells my boss how I refused to tell her where the frozen spinach is. He politely told her that we do not work for the grocery store and that we were vendors. She demanded to see the store/real manager after again stating that ice cream people don't put out their own ice cream. So someone went and got the manager. The store manager came over and asked her what the issue was. She told him to fire us for lying to her and refusing to help her. He responded with, "I can't fire them, they're vendors for an ice cream company." This lady blew a gasket and started screaming at us in the store, claiming that we were gaslighting her by insisting that we work for an ice cream company because they don't put out their own stock. She claimed that she wasn't ever going to shop there again and left a cart full of groceries. My boss, the store's manager, and I all looked dumbfounded as she said that she was driving to a competitor to shop. A few weeks later, I saw her back in the same store, and this time was wearing the company logo on 2 articles of clothing. She saw me coming and ducked down an aisle fast to avoid me. I still to this day don't know why she picked that hill to die on. I also don't understand why she was so insistent that ice cream vendors don't merchandise their own products. She probably told her friends her side of the story, and someone may have set her straight. That's the only reason I could think of as to why she was back in that store. And our last story. Fake HOA towed my car. I had an old Mercedes. It had 860,000 miles on it. Big old beast of a car. Belonged to my great uncle. Bought it for $1. The turbo went out on it. It still worked and ran, but was super sluggish going up hills. It was going to cost like $800 to fix it, and I needed about 6 weeks before I could afford to fix it. Parked it on a parking pad near my condo that we rented. My neighbor, Diane, called the tow company and said she was an HOA member and my car was parked illegally. Tow company came and towed my car. It was so long and heavy that the winch cable bent underside my front bumper. They towed it to their yard. I got it a couple of days later after filing a police report saying it was stolen, because I didn't know otherwise. Asked the tow company what the F. They said the HOA said it was parked improperly, so it was towed. Talked to my landlord and got the covenants. There was nothing in there about length of parking, only abandoned vehicles. The car had a valid tag, 4 full tires, and was operable. It was nowhere near abandoned. I read up on state law about tow notices and learned signs had to be 4 feet above the grade. The signs were 3 feet. I sued. Each HOA board member, Diane, landlord, she understood, property manager, tow company, tow truck driver, effing sued them all. I spent 6 hours researching my case and put that in there as well. 6 hours at $100 an hour. Cases against landlord and board members were dismissed. Tow truck driver was dismissed. That's fine, I expected all that. I learned in the course of the research that Diane was not a board member and she lied. Effing lucky for me, the tow company recorded their phone calls, and I had that evidence as part of my case because of a subpoena. So now it's me versus Diane, property manager, and tow company. Let's effing do this. I amended my complaint and asked for treble damages because I alleged the phone call was done with willful misconduct and fraud. At court, I spent 30 minutes laying out my case. I went through the sign requirements and submitted evidence that the sign was 3 feet off the ground. I called the tow yard dude who saw me drive it off to testify that it was operable. I presented the current registration to show it wasn't abandoned. I presented a picture of the car in the courthouse parking lot showing I had driven it that day. I showed the damage to the bumper and submitted a quote to replace it from a Mercedes body shop. The driver testified and admitted what happened. I called the HOA board president, who testified that Diane was not and never had been a board member. I informed the judge I worked 6 hours and estimated my value at $100 an hour, which I considered fair, since attorneys would have charged at least twice that. I won. Tow company insurance paid me $1,200 for the bumper and replacement. Property management company paid $125, the cost of the tow hookup, because their sign was improperly placed, which made them liable, and the filing fees. I was awarded $1,075 from Diane, the amount I paid to get it out of the tow yard, plus the hourly rate for my work. Then the judge hit Diane with the treble damages, which meant I was awarded $3,225. Total awarded, $4,550. Diane didn't pay in 30 days. I filed notice with the court. 30 days after that, she still hadn't paid. I went to the marshal's office with my judgment, paid a private investigator $150 to find her bank accounts. 30 more days passed. I filed for a lien and was granted a garnishment order. Walked into Bank of America and cleaned out her checking and savings accounts. Still didn't have all my money. I was short like $1,500 or so I filed a lien against her house. Went back to Bank of America a few months later, and she had closed her account, paid a private investigator again, found her account at SunTrust, went in with my garnishment order and took $1,250. Left the $250 lien in place on her house, just to F with her so she'd never forget, so she'd remember me when she tried to sell her house. Did wind up fixing the car, though. Drove great after that. New turbo was amazing. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.